What does Christmas have to do with the Romanov family? And the answer is not as festive as it sounds, but it definitely is red. I'm not taking you back to the early 20th century, but to 1947, the year that a boy named Stephen is born. This is Stephen, and his last name is Christmas. That's right, Stephen Christmas. Within the first few years of his life, his parents start to notice that he bruises easily and he bleeds easily, even with a minor scrape. He ends up being diagnosed with hemophilia, and this is a bleeding disorder, a blood clotting disorder. If you get the smallest cut, you bleed and you bleed and you bleed. Your body has trouble with maintaining certain clotting factors that are important to stopping a bleed. Clotting factors are little proteins that help form blood clots. They are tiny, but they are mighty. A problem with any one of them puts you at extreme risk of bleeding. Hemophilia is an illness that can be split up into a couple of different subtypes, and these depend on which factors you're missing. Hemophilia A is the most common, and here you're missing factor 8. Hemophilia B is what Stephen had, and this is Christmas disease, which is a deficiency of factor 9. It's important to note that hemophilia can be a genetic illness, and if it is, it's usually X-linked and recessive, so that means that men are more likely to have it. Now, who are some other famous people in history who had hemophilia, this so-called royal disease? It would be Queen Victoria's male descendants. We've already mentioned young Tsarevich Alexei of the Romanov family, and he is the great-grandson of Queen Victoria. Her granddaughter, Alexandra, Alexei's mom, was a carrier of hemophilia. And researchers have fairly recently learned from a study of the remains of Alexei that it was most likely hemophilia B that ran in the family because of this missing factor 9. Now, back in Alexei's time, and even in Stephen's time, we didn't have the treatments that we have today. What we need to do in hemophilia is basically replace the clotting factors that are missing. So what we do is infuse patients with a concentrate of clotting factors derived from plasma, which is a blood product. Unfortunately, in the 80s and 90s, we didn't effectively screen for or treat the blood products to kill viruses. So what ended up happening is that people getting plasma, getting these concentrates, as well as getting blood transfusions were at a much higher risk of developing bloodborne infections. This includes hepatitis, and this includes HIV. And this is unfortunately what happened to Stephen. Today, thankfully, we have much tighter and safer regulation on blood products. And while hemophilia can still be devastating, we have treatments that didn't exist 100 years ago, and it is a much more manageable condition than at any other point in history. And yes, it does all tie back to Christmas.